Before trying to find your supplier for your next Amazon FBA product, watch this video because I lay out 10 of my best tips on how to do that.
All I wanna do is be the best me. All I wanna do is be the best me, possibly.
What's up, welcome back guys, Sam and Brax here, and welcome back to episode 5 of the BNB series, the brand new brand series where I'm documenting the launch of my brand new brand, my first ever brand on Amazon FBA. So if you want to see how that goes, subscribe. And I'm back in Montreal from San Francisco. It was awesome meeting you guys. Thank you for showing up, whoever showed up. And thank you to all of you guys that participated in the giveaway of last week. I announced the winners depending on when this video comes out, but I gave a 1-year free feedback with subscription. So in the last video we talked about branding and how I came up with my brand, and in the ones before we talked about finding a product. Now in this one I'm going to give you my best 10 tips on how to source the product, my steps and tips on each step. But first, congrats to the giveaway winner. Nelson says, free feedback quiz would be useful, but a phone call with you would be priceless. Well, thanks Nelson. I actually thought that the feedback quiz giveaway was more valuable, but since you guys want this, here you go. Contact me on Facebook to set it up. And if you want to win the next one, I give you guys the chance to win a 1-hour free call with me. All you have to do is click the thumbs up on this video, leave a comment saying that you want to win, and click on the subscribe and on the bell. And that's it. I'll choose someone randomly next time. So I'm going to go over these 10 steps and all these tips that I'm going to give you. And all these come from over a year of experience of me doing that, of me sourcing products, talking to suppliers. When I first started, my first time that I talked to a supplier was very different from the way I do it now. I learned a lot from people, from my experience, from what works and from what doesn't work. So that's what I hope to share with you here, and I hope that you learn from my experience instead of you guys going and, messing up the first few times. You can probably get it right from the first time if you watch this video. So number 1, first of all, the first thing you want to do, the first thing that I do is once I find a product and I want to talk to suppliers, before even going to Alibaba, I create a template of what I want to ask them. And my template looks as professional as possible and has as many questions as possible according to what I want to ask them and what I want to find out from them or about the product. So I write that down and I write it very specifically in a way so that it helps me filter out good and bad suppliers. What I mean by that is that I say, please answer all these questions, let's say in red under each question. Now you'll be surprised because some suppliers won't even look at that, won't even answer your questions, and will just give you random answers. I wouldn't want to work with someone that doesn't have good communication skills or that just doesn't communicate well with me. So answering these simple questions or these simple steps helps me figure out who's good and who's not and who to ask more questions to. So I didn't want to do this, but I will. I'm going to actually share with you my personal template that I use. And I say I didn't want to do this because this changes every time. With every single product, it's going to change. But at least I'll show you like this skeleton of how it starts. And then you can add your questions or add or change whatever you want to change. So if you want to get that, you can download it in the description below. But don't do it yet. Just watch the whole video, then you can click on all the links. Number 2 is you go search on Alibaba. Once you've created your template and you want to go find a supplier, you go to Alibaba, you search your product, and then you send them your template. Now, of course, make sure to change the name of the person in the template. Don't just have it be generic or don't just have it be the same name by mistake. When you're searching, when you put in your main keyword of the product that you're looking for, filter by trade assurance and gold status. So you want to find suppliers that have both of those because trade assurance means that Alibaba can protect you in case you want to get your money back, but of course read the rules for more details. And gold supplier means that they've been checked by Alibaba. Now some say that you can pay for that, but it's better to have that than not to have it. And my other tip for you, something that I always do, is when I search for the keyword, I search by supplier and not by product. And that's because if you search by product, you can click on every single one and contact them all, but 2 or 3 of the products can be from the same supplier. So you might be sending the same email to the supplier 3 times. But if you search by supplier, it won't repeat suppliers. Number 3 is messaging these suppliers. Now you don't have to, but that's what I do. I message as many as possible, especially if there are different products or different variations of the product. I like to get quotes from different suppliers from all these products. And now you'll see that creating that template in the first step is going to help you a lot because you're just going to copy, paste, and change the name or change a few things and send it to all these suppliers. But since you're contacting so many, it can get confusing once you start getting emails back. And you can see that in the template I say email me back and don't send me a message on Alibaba. It just makes life easier to see them all in your email. But to keep everything organized, I have a spreadsheet that I created on Excel where I track all the costs, all the things that your supplier usually give you in terms of, prices of this and that and this and that. I put them all in Son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a bitch. I put them all in an Excel spreadsheet. I put them all in an Excel spreadsheet. There we go. So that it becomes super easy to compare the prices of either the product or the shipping or the samples, and to just add notes next to each supplier and to see them all in one place. So also I'm going to share with you my spreadsheet. If you want it, it's in the description below. Don't get it yet, download it at the end of the video, just watch the whole video first. So far I'm sharing with you an email template and a spreadsheet, and for both cases, modify it to how you like it, or according to the product itself, or according to the situation itself. Just use it as a starting point. Number 4, once you have all this information, you start contacting these suppliers back. And now you're going to see how important step 1 was, because you're going to see that some of them make no sense in their responses. Some of them don't even answer your questions. And those that don't, you don't even bother replying to them. So I usually reply to 4, 5, or even 6 suppliers according to the interaction that we had. Number 5, I ask them for samples. Now, I get a lot of questions saying, do you ask them for modified samples? Do you ask them for samples that you've changed, or just samples as they are, the way they have them? And I usually ask them for samples as they are. I don't modify anything at this point because I'm asking for like 3 to 4 samples. And if you're gonna modify, it's gonna cost a lot and add a lot of time. And you don't wanna spend that much money before choosing one supplier. So I ask for generic samples, and let's say from 3 to 5 suppliers. And I did a video on samples. If you want to check it out, I'll link it up here. And I laid out exactly how and why I ask in different ways for samples. For this product, I spent about $30 to send the samples to my house from China to Canada, and it took about 3 to 4 days maximum to get to my house. So expect that. Number 6, you choose the samples. So within 1 week, you've contacted the suppliers, you've gotten answers back, and then you've ordered your samples, and then you have them at your house. Hopefully within 1 week. Most of the time, a lot of samples look the same, but test them out, do a lot of testing, and then choose 1 or 2, and then go back to negotiating with the suppliers. I usually don't negotiate before that point, maybe a tiny bit, but I'd rather have the samples in my hands so that I have more of a leverage when I'm talking to the suppliers. Number 7, I negotiate with the suppliers. I have the samples in my hands, I know which ones I like and which ones I don't, and I start negotiating with the ones that I think I'm gonna work with. And I did a whole video on how I negotiate with suppliers, I'll link it up here, but to summarize, it's 3 points, and here they are. 1, 2, 3. So I negotiate, I get the price that I want, I get the MOQ that I want, and I choose the supplier. And then the others, I don't just neglect them, I say thank you in a nice way, and I say something like, we hope to work with you in the future, because you never know if you need them in the future for the same product or for another product in their catalog. Number 8, I order modified samples. So we have samples that are generic, but we don't have the modified samples in case you want to change a color, in case you want to add something, in case you want to, whatever change you want to make. So that's when I order that sample that's going to be the product that's going to be up on Amazon. And if I remember correctly, I think it costed me about $250 to get it, printed, modified, and shipped to my house. It took about a week maybe, or a bit more, because, for them to fire up their machines for one item, it's going to cost them more. So that's why it costs more than the sample that we got before. And in my opinion, it's 100% worth it so that you see how it looks in your hands before you sell it. So the point of getting this sample is to see if you like what it looks like, since we already chose the supplier. The other point of this sample is to have it with you to use it for photography later, which is another video that I'm going to do in the future, so subscribe if you want to see that. So you get that sample, you approve it, you keep it with you, you use it for photos, and then the next point is you approve the sample and then you say, let's start producing 500 or 1,000 or whatever you're ordering. And at that point, what I personally do is I pay 30% of the full order. I don't pay the full order at this point, because later we're going to do inspection to see that all is okay. You can do 30%, you can do 50%, you can do 70%. I prefer 30. Now, according to your product, to your modifications, and to whatever you added to your product, it's going to take anywhere between a week, 2, or even a month. With my first product, it used to take a week because it wasn't modified at all. It was just a box that they had to print and put the product together. With this product, I'm modifying it since it's a branded product, and it took a month, exactly 1 month I think, before it was done. And in that time, I was working on building the brand, building the audience, and all that stuff. But this last step, step 10, that's when you send inspection to check your products. And I highly suggest that you do that, because if there's a lot of defective products, your listing's gonna suck, you're gonna get a lot of negative reviews, and then that's it, you're not gonna be able to sell. So send someone not from your supplier, someone else to go there in China and inspect your products. And according to how big the batch is and how much they need to test with the product, you can either do a full test and pay more, or you can do a sample percentage. So I used to do a full test because I had less units and less, moving parts, I guess. But in this one I did 50 out of 500 and the results were pretty good. So you get your inspection report, which usually it's a full, huge report with a lot of details. Like they show you pictures of them smelling the product, of them measuring every single thing. And if you want to use the inspection that I use, message me on Instagram. I guess I can send you who they are. I just don't want to blast them like this because I haven't asked them. And then once you approve the inspection, well, if you don't approve it, then you have to talk to your supplier and then rework some things. But once you do approve it, that's when you pay the leftover 70%, and that's when you start the shipping process. My advice with this last step is to figure out shipping a few weeks before. And I did this mistake where I delayed it, and thankfully it didn't cost me too much. My freight forwarder figured it out quickly. But figure out shipping like 2 or 3 weeks before that, and either use your supplier to figure it out or hire a freight forwarder. And I'll do a whole video in the future on shipping and using a freight forwarder and shipping by sea specifically, because I just did that and it went very smoothly. And that's it for the 10 steps on how to source a product. I hope you liked the tips that I gave you. And for the next video, can you please leave in the comments and help me out with this one? Do you want to see a video on inspection where I go in more details on inspection, or do you want me to just skip it and go to shipping? I don't know if I've talked enough about inspection in this one, but I can just go straight to shipping and talk a lot about that. So let me know in the comments. So if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see the next one, subscribe and click on the bell to get notified when I post. And that's it. Have a nice day. I'll see you then. Peace. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you liked it. And as you know, at the end of each video, I answer someone's question from my Instagram DMs, and they're usually videos. So if you want me to answer your question and be featured here in a video, at Brax, ask me any question and you'll make it. Not many people have been doing it, so there's a big chance that you'll make it. So this question is from Rish, I think that's his name.
Hey Samer, what is up? Doing great with your YouTube, buddy. Well, my question for you is, what are your plans for the next year? What do you plan to do? What do you plan to achieve next year? And look forward to your answer.
Alright, thanks for your question, Rish. So what are my plans for the next year? If you guys know me, I don't plan ahead that much. I just go with the flow most of the time, which might not be the best thing, but it is what it is. But I plan on growing the brand, or launching the brand. Well, it depends on when you're watching this video, but I plan on growing the brand as much as possible, making it as real as possible, as, just the best that it can be. I also plan on growing this YouTube channel. I want to post more. It's really hard. Like, it takes a lot of work, especially since I'm actually building a brand on Amazon. So YouTube and Amazon, and then it depends where I'm at with my Canadian residency. If I have the passport, I want to travel. Or like move and live somewhere else just for fun. And if I don't have the passport yet, I'm just gonna keep traveling a tiny bit, like for a week here, a week there. And I think that's it. There's nothing on my mind right now, but if there's something else, I'll let you guys know.